Hey, I wanted to explore, I've been working on some short video lessons of working on the rhythm is basically a song called Fever. So I think originally done by Little Willie John, and it's been covered by everybody from Peggy Lee to you name it. But it's not really the song of that. Is what I'm really going for is just sort of that kind of groove, and then how we can add to it. Especially on acoustic guitar like this, if you're doing, fingerstyle or whatever, do it with a pick as well, but I prefer fingerstyle. So the bottom end is kind of doing this, is actually doing a lick. It goes. That's the way I'm doing it today, anyway. There's many ways to do this. But that's really the upright bass part. But you can do it on guitar and then add a few licks to it. And here's the licks. So what am I doing there? I'm hitting the 5th fret of the B string and letting the high E ring out. Sort of like when you're tuning, right? But I'm pinching them, so that gives it a little bit of a flavor that I like. This is ideally done fingerstyle, which is I can get real free with the fingerstyle stuff. I like it. So if you're doing this kind of low down old New Orleans, Little Willie John, and then you get that. I see the fever. Dig it? And then another one is you can just hammer on. This is a really simple one. On the D string 2nd fret with whatever finger you choose. Now hammer-ons are, they take a little bit of practice, a little bit of work, but they're effective because you only hit it once and then you let it ride. So it helps to have to have some sustain on it. In this case, I'm cheating. I got a little reverb on this guitar. But even if you don't, it still works. So putting those two together would sound something like this. So you could drop those two together, and that works pretty well. And then there's many more licks you could do. The last one I'm going to show you, though, is going up from, and then you pull off. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling off the 3rd fret of the G string, okay, with my 2nd finger. I'm going down only a half a step. It's like I call it a slur. So I just hit it once and then I pull off. Got it? Yep. 3rd to the 2nd on the G, then open G, and then 2nd fret on the D. If you want, you can hammer on. Now, if you want to add to that, to give it a little special sauce, you can pick up the B and the E string with these two, and you just slur it off. Almost like a slide move, isn't it? So in context, it'd be like. So what that allows us to do is, I talk a lot about connective tissue, and going from one change and then adding a little phrase like that. We have to do it in such a way that it flows, right? It's got to be in the groove. So, but I think it's important to note that in my case anyway, I can't be unafraid to do a stark lick around a groove. It doesn't always have to fill everything up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can just do a... which is nothing more than what I just showed you, but going back to the 3rd fret on the B string. But take note that I'm playing both the B and the E string there. And this kind of playing is not super precise or clean, really. It's not supposed to be. I think of John Lee Hooker. I was fortunate enough to do some work with him, and what I noticed about his playing is he didn't worry too much about getting everything perfect. He would, that I think is a big part of the attraction or the charm of his kind of music. It's very primal. So you don't have to worry too much, but you do want to keep that pocket going. Doesn't have to be perfect, but, and then you can get your licks in. One last lick. So we did this, and we did this. And if you go to the, I showed you this one before, but still it applies on the 7th fret of the E string and the 8th fret of the B. And you just use the first 2 fingers to wiggle it. Kind of cool, huh? And then you can open it up. Just open the B and E string. So all those licks together put those all together, you've got a few phrases you can use. And if, I don't know if you choose to, if you sing much, but you know, everybody's got the fever. This is one thing we all know. Fever isn't such a new thing. Fever started long ago. So there's more than a few little licks there. I hope that makes sense to you. There's so many. But you can work off what I just showed you and really try and experiment and stretch out a little bit, you know. You can always bend that G note, the 3rd fret of the high E. It's just so blue, isn't it? So there's my my blues lesson for this morning here. From here on out, it's a beautiful morning here. And some people ask me, how can you play the blues and live on Maui? Well, blues is a feeling, and you can get it anywhere. But it does not have to be sad and weird. It can be, you know, it can be healing as well. So, you know, somebody once said, I think the blues is the cure for the blues, and sometimes it is. So no matter what I'm feeling, if I'm playing some acoustic blues sitting out on my porch, generally with my cat, my wife's in the kitchen, it's a good life. So I hope wherever you are, you're doing good and you're hanging in there, and most importantly, you're playing your guitar. So see you down the road.